Hello, this is Taj McCameron from the ministry, and today we are talking about following your instincts. I wasn't initially going to do this, and I was sitting here trying to figure out which way I wanted to do the topic, whether I was going to take it out of the context of the original article in which I wrote several years back. It was written and published on May 7th of 2018. And I said I could do a breakdown of it, but as I looked at the article, I literally said to myself, you know what? I'm going to do it in the context that it was originally in because I think you guys will understand it better that way because I could take it out of the context and it may not make as much sense. I'm going to still do my breakdown, but I think you'll get it if I explain it this way. Pull up a chair because we're about to do a breakdown of an episode of a TV show I haven't watched in years. But when I was in one of my darkest seasons, back in May 7th, 2018, it was like the Lord was giving me instructions and I didn't really get it. I don't think I've looked at this article since the day I wrote it. But it was like I got a download. And I knew it was God that downloaded it to me because I didn't have access to this episode. Matter of factly, it wasn't one episode. It was a series of maybe 3 to 4 episodes that transpired. And I remembered all the details. Which I know was only God because I hadn't seen that show nor that episode since almost 4 years before. So for me to remember it in detail that I remembered it was only God. And I did a breakdown specifically and strategically. And what I'm about to give you is a strategic breakdown of every single thing you would need to know to follow your instincts to get out of a season that seems like you're trapped. This is what I call the holy grail of how to get out of a season that you're trapped in. Getting from one season, one segment, and one portion to the next. Okay? If we end up with distractions, you know that means that the enemy mad. Because I hear noise in my hallway, and I'm like, I heard noise all day long, and now I'm hearing noise when we're about to get into this. But that's all right, because you know what? We gonna still go ahead and go through it. Anyway, are you guys ready? Get a pen and paper out because you're going to need this instruction, okay? All right, here we go. It starts out with understanding. I was learning a teaching from T.D. Jakes, and funny enough, that morning after I was learning this teaching, my coach, which ironically had the exact same name of the character in the TV show. Her first name is the exact same name as the character in the TV show, which only further confirms I was supposed to do this because somebody dinged me in a notification on my phone only to show that the video that I was dinged in as having commented on was her video talking about the very similar situation of needing to be rescued. Talk about how God works. At the exact same time, I'm thinking to do this post. So when I tell you that this is all orchestrated by God, it's all orchestrated by God. So, are you ready to get into this? Let's take our first steps. So my coach had made a mention that morning that the enemy is operating in strategic uh, elements in order to try and knock us out. We're in a season right now that the enemy knows that his time is almost up. So whatever he does, it has to be very, very strategically done. It has to be done in a way in order to try to completely knock us off of our feet. So, with that being said, just before the blessing, we have to operate strategically in order to break through to what it is that we are supposed to be walking into. We cannot fear our enemy. The enemy is on a rampage to try to terrorize us. How many of you, raise your hand, who have found this video, have been under oppression, feeling anxious, feeling doubtful to what God has told you, have been feeling angry, have been feeling like you could snap on somebody at any moment, have been feeling upset? Some of you may have even been sick. Some of you may have even dealt with frustration. Some of you have been dealing with oppression, delay, feeling like you're stuck in a holding pattern, feeling, the list goes on, oppressed, like something was trying to sabotage what it was that you were trying to do, that every time you got close to something, it seemed like it wasn't coming through. Anybody? Comment if this is true. Leave a like if this is true on this video. And we have the understanding that we cannot fear our enemies. You know, like a mischievous child, the enemy is always active. He's always trying to do something and try to create some type of confusion. He wants to be petty. He didn't get what he wants, so he's going to try to destroy whatever it was that you're doing in order to, for instance, squeeze a lemon into the pitcher of whatever it is that you're up to. So for an entrepreneur, you're writing your business plan. You look up. You just got the entire business plan down. It's legit. It's 100%. I can't tell you how many times this has happened to me. You worked on the business plan. It was done. And guess what? It just got deleted. Or the whole computer froze. You can't get it back. You get something situated, you got the best images, the best plot, you got everything situated for your script or whatever it is. Your computer freezes and then you have to write it all over again. I wrote an entire relationship book back in 2000 and what year was that? 2015, 16. It was a mini book. I wrote the whole thing out. It was about 65 pages in the library, got it completely written, came back, tried to find it on my drive, and it wouldn't open. It wasn't there. Couldn't find it. I had to sit down the entire night and rewrite the whole thing all over again. But I still got it now. But these are the things that you begin to go through because the enemy becomes very petty as you're moving forward into these things and scenarios. As you get closer and closer, he tries to stop you. But it's very strategic. Running is no longer an option. You got to know that you got to run
towards the mark of the highest calling of God, and know that the enemy is doing, instead of stopping it, he is trying to, instead of stopping it, God is going to try to give you a strategy to get out of it. Ergo, what you're seeing now, what I'm giving you right now is a strategy, and we're beginning the process of explaining exactly what that strategy is. Okay, now the next phase, you will win this battle. Now you just have to think about how powerful you are. This particular character I'm about to describe is a character who was a no-nonsense woman. She got what she wanted done, and she took no prisoners in with what she was trying to get done at the time. She will read you within an inch of your life. If you know who I'm talking about, name her in the comments. And she would chew you out, chew you up, and spit you out strategically. Now, a lot of us are at a crossroads. We want to choose God's way of handling our issues. The way to handle our issues would be that we have to be on it in a specific way, which can leave us sometimes, especially as Christians, we must operate like a dove in a snake pit. We can't let the left hand know what the right hand is doing. As the show opens, the character or the main character has just been kidnapped. She's in a scenario where her being the most powerful person needs to find a way out. Now, this is funny because recently I had a dream about this, and I wasn't this character, but funny, I was brought to this character and a synopsis on how to get out of a trapped situation. Now, she was stuck in a bad situation. This was about the season 5 episode. She's now in a dungeon, and she could not get out. She was in a position where she was trying to read them within an inch of their life, because if she did, she was not in the position that she could read them within an inch of their life, because if she did, they could kill her. So she had to be more strategic. So what she did do was that she pulled a Daniel in a lion's den. Daniel in the lion's den had no way out. She had to think fast, find something to do to dig a hole in the wall of the bathroom to find another way of escape. God will provide you a way of escape. That's number 1. God will provide you a way of escape. It didn't work for the guy that was with her in the cell. He set her up to get closer to her, to learn her secrets. If he could get close enough to her, he could begin to isolate her and she would talk to him, right? Understand this and pay close attention. The devil will always try to isolate you. I remember being in a situation about a little over almost 2 years ago. There was a woman that I ended up having as a roommate. I was in an isolated situation, and I had run into so many people that had betrayed me and done all these kinds of things, and I was just getting out of a situation where I was severely attacked, not physically but verbally attacked, and my character was attempted to be fully destroyed. So my nerves were very bad when this person came to me as a new roommate. This woman tried to befriend me. When she tried to befriend me, she got me to talking because I did feel isolated. I wanted to talk, and I talked too much. She turned around after about 3 to 6 months. After knowing and getting to know everything she wanted to know about me, she started to turn everything that I had told her against me. So be forewarned. There are people that will, and listen to me carefully, this is a short mini lesson. The person that is going to try to test you, if they try to test you, be alert. It's a narcissistic personality. They will come in with almost overly niceness. When they come at you overly nice, listen carefully to what they're doing. They're going to come at you with the thing that you enjoy. They're going to befriend you. They're going to get to know everything about you. As soon as they get to know everything about you, they are going to slowly turn the things that are about you and turn your head. By turning your head, they're going to gaslight you. You feel like the very thing that you gave them is confusing. They're going to confuse you with it. Then they're going to make themselves appear to be the best source of an answer for you. If you do not become hypnotized into their game and they realize they can't hypnotize you, they're going to straightly attack you because they're going to realize that you're smarter than them. And once they realize that you're smarter than them, the only way that they can attack you is use psychological warfare. This woman used to purposely do some of the nastiest things and then expect me to clean it up. And then turn around and tell the people that worked in the building that it was me that did it. When I tell you she was sadistically messed up in the head, she sadistically was messed up in the head, and then would turn around and tell me that she told the people in the building X, Y, and Z to create a formulation. Like pretty much she was the only answer to prevent them from removing me from that situation. Because she went and became friends with every person that worked in the building, and she was creating stories in order to create a false reality of who I was, even though I'd been there the whole time. So she tried to paint me as being the culprit for the very things that she was doing. One morning we ended up getting into an argument. And when this occurred, most people were very shocked at the way that I reacted due to the fact that I was known to be the quiet person. But I was getting sick and tired of her games. See, as a Christian, we have a tendency, we'll be pushed down, we'll be pushed down, we'll be pushed down, we'll be pushed down, we'll be pushed down. We can't say nothing, we can't cuss nobody out, we can't do any of that type of stuff. And over time, that starts to trigger you because you're pressing it down, you're pressing it down, you're pressing it down, you're pressing it down. The only entity that you get a chance to talk to about it is the Lord. And eventually, you kind of get to a point where, try me one more time, I'm going to snap on you. Especially if you have the essence of the type of person that you don't just sit there and take. Continue to take and continue to take and continue to take it. There internally, as you become more mature and you come into the realization of your true identity within Christ, you understand who you are, and you understand that you don't have to take that. And these people will try to suppress your boundary and suppress your boundary and suppress your boundary. Ergo, as I show you, this is what the devil will do in order to trap you. So he makes an attempt to trap you. And me and this woman She kept trying me, but I kept praying and fasting. And I would spend time with the Lord often. And I knew what I was doing was working, because when I would come back after she had gone through what she'd gone through, she was the one that was dealing with some type of weird manifestation behind having attacked me. She attacked me in a certain way. She ended up getting some type of weird attack back. And it would keep happening. Back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. And it never really dawned on her. But see, I knew that when the Lord wanted me to move, He was going to have me move. And when He did, I removed myself from the situation. And the enemy never loves getting rerouted or stopped. And it ended up affecting her badly on the opposite end. I was delivered from that situation. And I've been in the process of healing from it since. But with that being said, that's the type of thing that the devil does. And because of that, the enemy will try to uprank. So your enemy gets close to you, your guard is down, he tries to lure you into doing his ultimate plan. But you don't have to take the bait. Just as I said, I didn't have to get into confusion with that woman. What actually ended up happening later is I realized what she was doing and I never fed into it, which left her talking to herself because of the fact that when she would start with me, I wouldn't engage. It's hard to get somebody to do something when you can't get them to engage in your foolishness. So she would try to wear me down when I wouldn't talk. But that would just make her tired because I wasn't engaging her. So in the situation, God will give you grace to get out. In this particular character situation, she was running to get to the door, thinking that she had found her freedom, but only to find out that once she had gotten outside, she was in a bigger holding pattern. It was a holding trap. Just like the enemy, to get you out of the last level, and you will still be in a holding pattern. I went through a 4-year period of the first 3 years was insane warfare. It was like a boot camp training program that only God knew. And as I was walking through that, it was an insane experience. But once I got out of it, I ended up in another holding pattern because I ended up with the same people in a different place. And I was under a holding situation. That's when I ran into that woman that tried to destroy me. Then I got out of that situation and ended up in another holding pattern. Where I am right now, I've been in a year-long holding pattern. I've been working on things, I've been working and trying to accomplish things, but I'm still in a holding pattern. And it was only confirmed within a couple of days ago that, yes, you're in a holding pattern, but you're close to the end. So, she was in a holding pattern. Now what? You're beyond tired, yes. You're beyond frustrated, yes. This season is at a point where you're ready to give up on it and fall to the ground in tears because you think it's over. What now? You've ran out of options. You're looking at God, and He's put you on the voicemail. Hello, this is God. Can't come to the phone right now. But you can call right back, and I'm sure Jesus will answer. Give him a detailed prayer description, and I promise you he will get back to you. And you're looking at the phone like, excuse me, I contacted Jesus on the 911. What is this? This was my 911. You're supposed to answer. Now what? You got to get strategic. For God said, I know the plans that I have for you to give you a hope and to give you a better future. You get up, you dust yourself off, and you remember who you are. So she had to get up, compose herself, think of a structure for this second holding area. Know if you're transported to a new prison, Joseph, if you're positioned in a new prison and another location, you lose all leverage because you know this prison. You know this place, you know the length, the size, the hallways, what it takes to get from one door to the other door. You've observed enough, and the second holding area and the size and space and details in order to exit. The lighting even behind you and ahead of you, that the big and the bad try to let you know he's coming, but because he's cocky like that, he gives you just enough time to take the strategy you have and implement it. Enough time to shift out of the way for the enemy encounter and has the opportunity to surround you. As I said before, rewind, when the woman was trying to come at me, I came to the understanding of what I needed to do. I strategically left that situation. I kept my mouth shut, didn't tell her where I was going, what I was doing, or that I was leaving at all. I just slowly began to remove my property, and then the next thing you know, I was gone. She gave me a phone call the night that I reached my next location and said, "Where are you?" I said, "Oh, I left. I had something I needed to take care of. I'm gone." And that was that. Sometimes you have to make the decision to shift in the midst, to shift out of the way. Your inner you has to leave its comfort zone in order to bust out of its prison so that you can get and come into what it is that you have to come into, because that the enemy is coming at you at all sides. For the enemy will leave its house for a period of time, but come back with 7 friends, and they will begin to wear you out. So sometimes you're going to have to play dumb and let them escort you right into your breakthrough. Press into God. Press and run for it. As soon as they escort you out, leave the holding area and wait till they close in and make a run for your door. Make a run for your exit. You will get out. Now, some of us have been in situations where we went through the trial, had to go back a level, and then strategically get through the last level. But what happens is, what if that wasn't out? Like in this situation, the character ran to the door, ran for freedom, an unexpected player returned, and they had to go through that enemy within that final minute of getting out. As you prepare to go to your next level, sometimes old people will try to come back. Every person I listen to has been saying, warning, the counterfeits are returning. Whether you're preparing for marriage, that means old partners are going to start calling your phone, texting you, Facebooking you, doing all this kinds of stuff, coming up from out the woodwork out of nowhere. Old friends that you knew was your enemies. They tried you. They did everything to you. And they going to come back acting sweet as pie. But what did I just say? When they start acting like they're sickeningly sweet. Yeah, because they're sick. They're going to come at you with a sweetness that's just a little bit too sweet. Perfect example. Somebody I know called my phone and they said, oh my God, I haven't heard from you in so long. How have you been? Oh my God, this, that, and the other. They try to get, I saw a photograph of me or something like that. They were like, oh my God, you look like you are from Hollywood. Oh my God. I mean, they were rubbing it on thick. And I was like, excuse me? For one, you acting too. And I knew instantaneously, oh, this is a problem. Another young woman, she released in one of her videos, she said, if you notice somebody coming to you, calling you, or trying to get in contact with you from your past, they're trying to get in order to distract you so that you won't be where you're supposed to be when the person that's supposed to come rescue you shows up. Okay? Ergo, this is why Olivia couldn't leave the prison, because she knew somebody was going to come and find her. So, you run into that enemy. What do? You try as you might to get out. You have run out of options. A lot of us have gone through tests and trials, and we have literally run out of options. We are in the best place that we could ever be. You know why? Because that means God can work now. Because God has waited for us to get to the end of our rope of all the things that we can do. And now he's saying, are you going to let me do what I can do now? Are you ready? So you let the situation